get real for a minute. Today is May the 8th, and I told myself this last week I was going to get out of my rut, and I'm aware of what's going on with me, but I'm still not totally out of it. But that's okay. It's a process. It's not a on-off switch. You can't just flip it off, flip it on. It doesn't happen like that. What I do need to happen is to continue the momentum, to get things going. And I'll be honest, this last week was better. If I look at my Strava, I logged 37.9 miles this last week. I get in 5,000 feet of climb. That was about 6 hours of running. I had put down on here that I had a 60-mile goal, so I didn't quite reach it. But right now I'm sitting a little under 10 weeks from Hard Rock, and it is officially time to kick things off. And you know what that means. If you tuned into my vlog last year, I laid the gauntlet down. I charted my progress. Today's Monday, 8:48 p.m. Still have not run today, but that is no excuse. Let's talk a little bit about my short-term and my long-term goals. I also want to talk about what this vlog, what this show is going to look like over the next few months, because it's going to get pretty damn exciting. So first off, short-term goals. 10 weeks, I've got the Hard Rock 100. This is my 4th attempt at this incredible race. A little bit about the Hard Rock 100. If you don't know what it is, it's a high-altitude mountain race in the San Juan Mountains of southwest Colorado. The race goes up to 13,000 feet, I believe over 9 times, over 14,000 feet once. When I saw pictures of the 2006 Hard Rock 100, I was blown away. I'd never seen a more beautiful area, and it was only a short 9-hour drive from where I live here in Phoenix, Arizona. I was new to the ultra scene at the time. I had completed my first ultra less than a year prior, and I knew upon seeing these photos that this was my race, that I was going to do this race someday, that this is why I got into the sport. The Hard Rock was going to be the race that I was going to finish. What did I do? Well, I looked to see how you enter that race, and you needed to complete a Hard Rock qualifier. This was a postgraduate run, meaning you have to complete a mountainous 100 to prove that you've got what it takes. The closest and next qualifier to me was the Angeles Crest 100, which is located about 6-hour drive due west outside of Los Angeles in the San Gabriel Mountains. So what did I do? Well, I signed up and I convinced my younger brother to join me as well. Started training, went out there, September 2007, finished. Angeles Crest 100, got it done, and started applying to the Hard Rock. I was able to get in 2009, my second time applying, and I've gotten in about every other year since then. I did not get in 2011, so this will be my 4th attempt at the race. Now, I've had some good and bad luck there. The first year I ran it, I finished in 33 hours. Honestly, I don't remember a lot about that year other than my brother paced me and had an okay race. Most scary thing was going over Handy's Peak in a lightning storm. Flash forward 4 years later, 2013, had the best training block build up of my life, doing speed work, doing all the things that you need to do to get ready for a 100-miler. About 3 weeks prior to race day, I did a dress rehearsal training run. So I ran the first 57 miles of the Hard Rock course from Silverton to Ouray, and did that in about 13 hours. Now that would have placed me the previous time they ran in that direction about 2nd or 3rd place. And I had done this so casually. Followed that up with a workout about 3 days later. I did, I think, 5 or 6 times 1 mile at 5:45 pace at 9,000 feet. Followed that up 3 days later, ran from Ouray to Telluride, the next section of the trail, and course record pace. What the lead guys do typically in a race is about 3 hours and 50 minutes, and I did it in 3:10. So kind of had a lot of confidence going into the race. Was smashing every segment of the course. I'd only run each segment of the course once that year in my build-up. Was doing speed work, getting a lot of rest. Honestly, leading into the race, I thought I would win the Hard Rock 100. I thought I would run 24 hours just based upon my splits and my training. And come race day, I completely imploded about mile 32. Had an epic nutritional disaster. Was throwing up on top of Handy's Peak. There's literally footage of me on the internet. If you look up, there's a Hard Rock film with Darcy Africa, and right as she's passing me, I'm just literally like doubled over throwing up. So 2 hours overdue into Grouse Gulch aid station, fell from 7th place back to maybe 50th place. People along the way are asking me if I'm okay. I finally have to stop eating and drinking just to make it into the aid station. So I don't quit, but I lie down on a cot for about 4 hours. Over that period of time, I finally start to be able to sip some water, sip a little bit of ginger ale, eat little bits of tortilla, and then finally some mashed potatoes, and eventually 4 giant mashed potato burritos gets back into my system. While I was in there, a storm passes over, runner after runner are coming in, it turns dark, and I'm now over 6 hours overdue from where I was hoping to be in the race, and I've fallen back to 109th place out of 140 runners, so I'm kind of near the back of the pack at this point. Safe to say, I was not having the race that I thought I was going to have. The leaders were, a third of the way up the course away from me, and I don't know, I guess it would have been easy to give up and just quit, but I had time on the clock and I just wanted to see what would happen. So I bundled up. It was probably 10 p.m. It was a little bit chilly out. Bundle up a ton, head out of the aid station, and just kind of like I let go of all my expectations, and I set out from there. Well, I get about quarter mile out from the aid station, and surprise, surprise, I start feeling good. I warm up, and I shed my layers almost instantly, and I feel like I'm brand new. Like I haven't even run a step yet, even though I was 42 miles into the race. Almost immediately, my thought was, how fast can I run this race? I've already lost 6 hours, but can I break 30 hours? Can I catch people? What can I get? Who can I pick off? And I just felt this momentum that it really fueled me. So kind of steadily climbed up to Engineer Pass, and I just flipped this switch, and I was right around the halfway mark of the race, right around mile 50. I started heading down, and I felt this energy, and it's hard to describe really what happened next, but all I can say, it was the most magical, inspired, out-of-body experience running that I've ever experienced in my life. It was almost effortless, the running that I did for the next however many hours it was. But I was passing runners like they were standing still going down into the town of Ouray. So I'm kind of now making my way about 58 miles into the race. I've got, I think that's right, 43 left, something like that. Or maybe it's a little bit, about 57 in, and I've got about 43 to go. And it didn't end. I kept eating more burritos, taking in a little bit of caffeine, and the climbs, I was running the climbs of the Hard Rock 100, and I'm 60, 70, 80 miles in. As soon as I get to the top, I am absolutely going 100%, 110% all out, bombing every downhill. I don't care about my legs. I don't even feel my legs. I don't feel my quads. I just bomb it. And I've never felt more alive than in that moment. I've never felt, it wasn't even hard. It was some of the easiest, most effortless running I've ever done. and something that was truly just this magical experience that it's kind of hard to describe. Continued to pass runners, going up, going down, every which way. I came into aid stations and I was just like this powerful machine, and I would just eat, and I was so focused. I was just out of the next aid station and on to the next climb. I would eat a burrito at the bottom, I would eat a gel at the top, and that's all I pretty much needed to get myself around. The other kind of crazy thing that happened is 4 miles from the finish, so I'm passing runner after runner, and I pass this one runner, and all of a sudden he latches onto me and he's following me, and I'm running what for me feels like, maybe sub 7 pace downhill. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ratchet it down a little bit and try and drop this guy. So I'm down to like what feels like sub 7 pace, and then like 6:30 pace, and still behind me. 6:15 pace, 6-minute pace, and what feels like 5:30 pace, and he's right there, stride for stride. He stays with me. So I am now 96 miles into the Hard Rock 100. I've just had the run of my life leading up to this point for a good 50 miles, 55 miles. And I'm now in a race, an all-out race at the end of arguably the toughest 100-miler out there. Myself and Rob Youngren, who's the gentleman who was with me, we literally stayed together until the final shoot. And I was able to get ahead of him on the last downhill. But literally there's a photo I just posted to my Instagram a couple days ago, actually, maybe about a week ago. He's like right behind me, and we're running towards the Hard Rock, having to like lean in, like you'd have to cross the tape, but instead you have to put your mouth on a giant rock and kiss it. So it's kind of an awkward way to sprint finish into a race without, smashing your teeth open. But where am I going with this story, with all of this? It's this state of mind that happens. It's really only happened to me in 100-milers, where you kind of go out of your mind and you go, I call it like going bonkers. And it's happened to me a handful of times in the sport. I ended up passing 95 people that day or that night. Finished 14th in 31 hours and change. So I did a 2-hour PR. And I literally was not moving for 6 hours on course. My split time from Ouray to the finish of the Hard Rock 100, it's still the fastest time out of anyone. It's about 10 minutes faster than Killian for those last however many miles, 43 miles. And to me, that kind of, it showcases some of my potential as a runner. And on one hand, it's inspiring because I know what I'm capable of. Like, I'm capable of a run like that, but for a whole 100 miles. I haven't put it together. And I know that's what really matters in the end. It doesn't matter if you put together a 50-mile effort out of 100, or even a 93-mile effort out of a 100-mile race. Like, what you'll be, I guess, known for, or it really matters. You got to get it done the whole way, and that's all there is really to it. Not that I'm looking for necessarily the recognition or achievement, but really it's that personal satisfaction. It's fulfilling what I think is my potential as a human and a runner and an athlete. I could care less about, what other people think about it, but for me, it's what I know I'm capable of doing, really. Like, that's really what it's for. I mean, the other times I've felt this kind of going bonkers, out-of-body experience, my very first 100, the Angeles Crest 100, when I was qualifying, ran the last 25 miles approximately with my brother, and we were behind 24-hour pace, and both of us linked up, and we literally ran out of our minds chasing that dream, like chasing the goal of a sub 24 to get that buckle. That was the first time I really felt it. I felt it a couple other times. Most notably, I felt it this year at the Barkley on Loop 2. I splintered off from the group I was with, and I just felt like this urge. I had to go. I just had to run free, run for myself, feel the flow of the trail and the land, and really my whole body just pumping on all cylinders, and feeling what that's like. It's like pure freedom. It's running wild. all those things, those inspirational bullshit quotes. But it was just a true embodiment of myself as an athlete and a human moving through the wilds, moving through the land, and, not even feeling any hurt or pain, just feeling really good. And I can imagine that, I'd say like a guy like Jim Walmsley, when I see him running, say his like rim to rim to rim, or seeing footage of him running at Hard Rock 100, or at the Western States 100, excuse me, I know what that feels like. I can just sense that what he was feeling in that moment, that's what I was feeling at the Hard Rock, or the Angeles Crest, my first 100, or the Barkley this year, or actually Rhonda Del Sims last year. The final 10-mile descent, it was unbelievable. I'm getting goosebumps right now, like my spine, like my back, just like running up and down it. Like, I remember cresting the top of that last pass. I'm in Andorra. I've been running for, probably 38 hours. And I think I went through 2 full nights possibly. And I finally kind of got some momentum back. I had just smashed the final climb of the course. All I've got to do is run downhill to the finish. And I just like flipped this switch, and started turning my legs over and getting this momentum, and it's building. And it's, again, just this feeling that you can't get in a 50-mile race or any other sort of long run. Like, the only way you can experience it is for running for 12, 20, 30 hours. But if you get there, it's just, it's why I do 100-milers. It's why I love the pureness of ultra running. It's not for anyone else. It's for the mind and the body and the soul, the spirit. And so I ran harder than I've ever ran. It's what it felt like. But it was effortless. It was easy. And it just felt like everything was working together in this seamless unity. It didn't matter that I had run 100 miles already and 38 hours. I was racing as hard as I could. And I was passing people, like running through these little villages, people cheering me on, and it just added to the experience. Every time I passed someone, I just drew in their energy. Every time I passed a set of people whining and dining on the street, it was probably 11 p.m. I came in. I just drew in all that energy, and I became pretty emotional. And at Rhonda especially, I don't think I've ever been more emotional at the finish line of a race. There was so much that went into training for that thing, and finally getting out there and not having the race I'd hoped for, but persevering and finishing with just giving it everything I had, like everything. And then I hit the finish and it's over. And I sit down on the street, and it's like these old brick buildings, and almost as soon as I sat down, like the church bells rang, like it struck midnight, and like it's weird, like I just started crying. Like I'm getting these chills right now, like all up and down, because it was such an emotional trip, and the tears just started flowing, and like it was over. Like everything I'd worked so hard for, the hours and sacrifice, and the days of just going up and down hills, and kind of all the emotions from the reason why I did it. It all came flooding and rushing back, and I had nothing left. It was all out there. Like it was a pure celebration of me as a human being and living to that potential. Like when I'm effortlessly running like that, there's no better feeling in the world. And I don't know, I hope that maybe this resonates with some of you. I don't know, like, has anyone else experienced this? I can't be the only one, but it's the state of flow maybe. Just when everything is just perfectly aligned and nothing else matters. Like you're just in the moment, in the zone. I don't know if that resonates with you. Reach out, leave a message or something, leave a comment. If you haven't felt that, maybe you haven't tried something hard enough. maybe you haven't got to that point where you've had to shed away everything, like everything that people think you are. They tell you aren't good enough. I don't know. At some point, you've fought the battles and you've persisted, and you know that you are good enough. You're fucking amazing. So that's what I'm in pursuit of. That's why, starting with today, I'm gonna train my ass off. And yeah, I'm gonna do it for me, but in doing that, I'm gonna be a better person for it. And all of it's for the hope that I can hit that point again, that I can experience that flow, that feeling of connectedness to myself and with nature and with my potential as a human. And it's a beautiful thing. I think we can see it in some other runners. You just know. So my short-term goal, it's leading to the Hard Rock 100, and I've got 10 weeks to train for that. Long-term, there's really only one long-term. I think you guys already know it. But yeah, that's a 5-loop finish at the Barkley. So I'm excited. I'm stoked. I want to try and keep these thoughts in my head, because really, I mean, there's nothing holding me back but myself in achieving these things. And yeah, sure. I mean, I would love to fulfill my potential and say win the Hard Rock, but that's not really what it's all about. But if I could feel that flow for a whole 100 miles, I've gotten close once, and I'd say that's at the Mogollon Monster 100 back in 2012, the inaugural. Pretty much had a flawless race out there, and I just want to do that on a bigger stage. I want to do that at the Hard Rock. I want to feel it for 100 miles in the San Juans. Have that dream race that I've really been envisioning for over a decade now. You know, when I first saw those pictures of the 2006 Hard Rock, I really want to just, I guess, honor those mountains and myself and as a person. So exciting things to look forward to. I'm going to be moving to Silverton for 4 to 5 weeks before this year's race. So about mid-July, I'm going to head up there. And what does that mean for this show? It means hopefully some really, really, really epic episodes every single day. I want to take you guys along on my training and showcase really what the Hard Rock is all about, because I don't think there's a more beautiful race out there in this country, a more epic landscape. It's unbelievable. The high altitude, the technicality, the history, the storiedness of it all. It's really amazing. And I know there's a lot of you guys out there that won't get a chance to go up there. And so I guess I take it as like, I don't know, like it's my duty to take you guys along with. And I'm excited for that. I want to share the experience. And I feel very fortunate to be able to do that. So let's do it. Let's do it, guys. Let's find that race, that experience that pushes us all and gets us to that flow state, because there's really no greater feeling. Wow. Now what do I do? Well, I'm going to go for a run.